there's this like crazy pressure nowadays for everybody to be like super productive and to maximize every single minute of every single day. And that's what I did for a long time, whether it was like in school or when I first started seminary or even at work. Like I feel like every single minute, if I'm not doing something that's productive, then I'm just wasting my day, right? And I realized through all of that, I wasn't becoming more human, I was becoming more hurried. Everything had to be done at a deadline. Everything was moving faster than it needed to. And so I slowed down for a second and asked myself, what are the things that actually give me life? What slows me down in the presence of God? Hello, my name is Caleb Griffin. If you're new here, please do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button, like, follow, comment, do whatever you got to do. I'd really appreciate it. Today, we are talking about life-giving hobbies. Those things that you do that you can find rest in and that draw you closer to God. So when we talk about life-giving hobbies, keep in mind these are not things that are just a break from work. You can have things that are a break from work, but that's not what a life-giving hobby is. Life-giving hobbies, they're a way to recover the rhythm of being human, reminding yourself that you are not just a machine. But we're people. We're created in the image of a restful God, and we are created relationally and with the purpose to spend a day in rest. Luke 5:16 says, "But he would withdraw to a desolate place and pray." This is Jesus Christ. Even Jesus took the time to remove himself and rest, to take time to remember that he was human. And if Jesus could do that, then so should we. So let's talk about rest for a second. God created the world in 6 days, and on the seventh, he rested, right? And here's the thing, this wasn't a crash. This was a rest. There is a difference. We are so often to get resting and crashing confused, right? Like if I spend all day at the church working and then I go home and I write a paper for class and then I stay up a little bit longer to study for something, or I don't know, edit a video for instance, and then I just instantly go hit my bed and fall asleep. That's crashing. That's not resting, because God didn't crash. God delighted. And that's what life-giving hobbies are. They're invitations into that delight. They're not escapes, but instead they're renewals. That's what life-giving hobbies do. They renew you. The point of life-giving hobbies is restoration. So let's talk about what life-giving hobbies do and why they are so life-giving. First, they make room for God to speak. Later on, I'm going to be releasing a video on the rule of life, which is going to be a much more lengthy video, so subscribe so you don't miss it. But basically going through what the rule of life is, which is the structure to your life that you follow to draw you closer to God, and it includes these restful, life-giving hobbies. And the reason those are included is to give you rest, but also to draw you closer to God, and you do that by creating space for God to speak. Often when we pray like really quickly. We try to get it over and done with, and we forget to sit still and let God speak back, because prayer is a dialogue. Prayer is not a monologue. Like, we're supposed to hear back from God, and that's what life-giving hobbies let us do. So one of my life-giving hobbies is making coffee. I realized I was spending way too much money on coffee, so I bought an espresso machine, spent even more money, and I started making my own espresso shots. And I found that process of scooping the beans, grinding them, tamping the beans into the portafilter, and then like locking it in, watching the espresso pour out, extracting that espresso shot, like that was, I didn't expect it to be, but it was really kind of life-giving for me. Like, it was a way to start my morning. So I'd wake up and I'd do my quick morning prayer, and as I was doing this process of making the espresso, I realized, like, oh my gosh, like, I'm hearing back from God. Like, this is life-giving to me. It's a great way for me to start my morning, one, in a process, two, quietly, alone, and I'm actually doing something that I'm finding rest in and that I'm hearing back from God after I prayed a quick morning prayer, right? And so that has become a part of my rule of life through that process, and I didn't even expect it to be. Before that, I considered disc golf one of my life-giving hobbies. Now, I was careful here to include this because when I'm playing with my friends, it's not very life-giving. Not that I don't love my friends, but we're very competitive, so we often get into a mindset of, okay, I'm about to destroy you, and so on and so on, and it becomes more of a competitive nature thing than a life-giving nature. But if I'm like just going and I'm in the woods and I'm playing by myself, it could be very life-giving, because that creates space for me to be alone, a desolate place, and allow God to speak to me. So try your best to find like those times in life and those things that you've done that have allowed God to speak to you. That could be taking a walk by yourself, going on a run by yourself. I know a lot of people who get that out of going to the gym, and I wish that was me because maybe I go to the gym more often. Um, but there's things that we can do that help us draw closer to God and let us hear from God that also supply us with rest and renewal. Another great thing about life-giving hobbies is if you can find one that helps you connect with other people. A lot of times the best hobbies are often shared. Going on a walk with a friend, watching a good movie with a friend. Once again, be careful if you consider a movie life-giving, but doing something with a friend or a loved one that can be very, very life-giving. If you are married, I am not yet, getting closer, I hope, but find something to do with your spouse that allows you two to draw closer to God together, that give you both rest, right? Those are the things that life-giving hobbies can help us do. Like, for instance, in my making coffee, I can make coffee drinks in the morning for other people to bring to work, and that can be very, like, life-giving in a way because I get to see somebody smile and say thank you, and then you see God in those little moments like that, right, when you interact with other people. And the last thing that I want to talk about life-giving hobbies doing is that they realign our souls. They help us realize that we are not just minds and hands, but we are souls, and souls in need of caring. We were made to rest every once in a while. It's okay to take a break and do something that renews your spirit. This can be slow worship music. This can be playing music if you're a musician. This can be, I've already said, going on a walk, reading for pleasure, things like that, things that we can do to give us life again. So if you are listening and you're thinking, man, I've been feeling really stuck recently, and you're trying to add all these spiritual disciplines are great. Those are also going to be part of the Rule of Life video I'm going to make, but also it's okay to return to stillness. Maybe instead of adding something else to do, you could take away something to do, or you can remove a stressor and add something that's life-giving, that draws you closer to God. It's okay to have silliness in your life. It's okay to have rest. This world is pushing so much productivity and do this, and this. And on the flip side, it's like it's pushing two things. On one side, it's productivity, and you got to get everything done all the time, or laziness, like just do absolutely nothing. There is a great spectrum there that God is going to put his people who listen to him, where for 6 days, yes, you work, and you work well, and you work for the glory of God, and you can find your rest within those days. Maybe take a moment of solitude, rest in prayer, rest in worship, things like that. But there's also a day that is for you to rest. And it's such a life-giving thing to do, and a lot of people miss it. But imagine how much joyful you would be if you spent a day going on a walk, sitting at home, spending time with your loved ones, resting and letting your soul renew, and finding space for God to speak to you, right? So my challenge to everyone this week is to find that life-giving hobby. Find that thing that draws you closer to God, that gives you renewal, that gives you rest, and creates space for you to listen to God. I hope this helps. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video.